Husky Huddle, our passion won from defense.
All right.
All right, here we are for Husky Huddle. And with us, as always, the coach himself, Dave Schumann.
What's going on?
Always hustling, always trying to make money.
Oh.
Coach, how are you?
I'm doing okay. You got to make sure, we keep food on the table.
Right. And we have the legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best, Joe D'Ambrosio. Joe, great to see you.
Good morning. Lots to talk about, fellas. So let's get to it.
Hop right in.
Yes. As I discussed before the Florida Atlantic game, Coach Moore was going to be leaving, and it turned out I was Nostradamus. The prophecy came true.
Oh, stop it. You didn't have to be Karnak to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break.
Stop it. Nostradamus.
What'd you do, crack this morning?
Well, since you woke me up, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I called you at 8 a.m. Everyone should be working at that time, no?
Why? Why at 8 a.m.?
I'd say no.
What do I have to do at 8 a.m.? I don't want to get up at 8 a.m. Yeah, I'm a young man. I don't have a reason to get up at 8 a.m. right now.
You should be up at 6:30 a.m. every day, ready to roll.
I go to bed quite late. I work a little bit later. I think that should balance.
I'm giving you some life tips. There's a couple of life tips for you.
Okay.
Early to bed, early to rise. Makes you healthy.
Early to rise. Okay.
There you go.
I will remember.
Dad probably told you that when you were young, but anyway.
I will remember that. Well, we did not expect Coach to leave for Colorado State. I think that was the biggest surprise out of everything. We thought he would take a better job than that. They've had a lot of turnover in the last few years with coaches, with Bobo, with Norville, and they're going into the new Pac-12, which is a group of 5, group of 6 now conference. Colorado State.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I would have expected him to want one of the power conference jobs if he was able to get one. So the fact that he jumped so quickly at Colorado State was a bit surprising.
Did you see the comment by Nick Saban?
No, I did not.
God!
Commented.
You saw it, right, Joe?
I did.
Oh man, that was great. It was hilarious. It was so hilarious.
Coach Saban carved him up a little bit.
He said, "Is he really going to Colorado State?" He thought Pat McAfee was pulling his leg. So
yeah, because it's another state school. It's not like a desirable job that's going to pay
just
$10 million a year.
Norvell's career.
Yeah, I mean it's where coaches have gone to die as of late. So that's why it was a bit surprising when he was being talked about for the Washington job or even Oregon State, Colorado State. I don't know the benefit of him going there.
I can tell you that's easy. It's where he lives.
Yeah,
he lives in Colorado. It's no more. You don't have to be Nostradamus to figure that out. And maybe he didn't think he was going to get offered at these other places.
That was yes. I think Joe's point on that is even exactly. I think Joe's point on that is worth exploring. I don't think he was getting any of those other jobs. I don't care what. Like there's a lot of big time guys that are sitting on the sideline. You know what I mean?
And oh yeah, absolutely. Look at Lane Kiffin. Look at Lane Kiffin's saga.
Well, he's not laying on the sideline.
Yeah, that guy ain't on the sideline now. Let's not get crazy.
That's not the sideline, Boopsy.
No, but to leave a team who's going to the playoffs, a chance to win a national championship. You don't think that's...
let's bump the brakes. They're in the playoffs. They have no shot to win the national championship.
They have no shot to win the national championship. Okay. Well, I mean, getting in the playoffs is pretty honorable and prestigious.
And how much do you think he cares about that?
Zero.
Yep.
I think he cares zero about it.
Right. So why bring it up?
Well, I think he cares somewhat because he fought to coach during the playoffs.
You know what, Steve? That's like, as somebody noted on X, that's like you say you're going to leave your wife for another woman, but you ask your ex if you can stay in the house for a week. Yeah. Doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
work that way.
But he did want to stay. I think his decision is going to backfire. I don't think he'll last his entire contract, and I don't think Moore will last his entire contract either. I don't think he's going to be able to win in that new Pac-12. It's a lot different than playing Florida Atlantic, Florida International, Buffalo, Ball State, than the teams that they're going to be playing, which are mostly Mountain West teams. I don't think he's going to have the success. And UConn plucked him from, we resurrected his career. He'd been out of coaching for 5 years. I don't know if he ever thought he was going to coach again. So that is why everyone thinks the sky is falling with Moore leaving. I do not think that at all. I think the problems exist whether he had stayed or he had gone. We're still an independent. We're not in a conference. We're not fundraising. We don't have the money, the revenue coming in. And, we're still averaging 22 to 25,000 people a game, allegedly. And that's not going to make us attractive to anyone. Benedict thought that with us winning, that fans were going to come. Well, the reality is fans don't want to see half the teams we play at home. When we played a good team at Duke, we got a pretty good attendance, but otherwise we didn't get good attendance. And that's going to make you undesirable to any conference, even some of the Group of Five conferences, and especially without basketball. Basketball wouldn't come until 2030. So
let me ask you a question. To interrupt your monologue, how many fans do you think Duke averaged at home this year, according to EER's 24/7 Sports?
I have no idea.
15,677.
Well, Duke's a basketball school, and they're in the ACC already, so they can average whatever the hell they want. It doesn't really matter.
It's TV.
And they're going to play in the ACC championship.
It's TV.
Yeah, it's television revenue.
Television is the biggest deal, and that's part of why ACC struggles as well. So,
they're playing in the ACC championship, and they could go to the playoffs still.
Right. But I'm saying,
they'll get whacked out of the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now. They'll take Miami. They don't have to take the ACC champ. There's nothing that says that. My guess is Miami gets in, if anybody gets in from the ACC.
I think the projections have them getting in, but yeah, I think the ACC champion. I think, but yeah, it's the five highest. They could get replaced by a Group of Five school if Tulane is ranked higher, and Tulane ends up winning the American, or James Madison wins the Sun Belt. That could replace them. I think Miami's the best team in the ACC, and Miami should be going. But Duke is playing in the ACC championship game. It's 7-5, which is insane. Which is because they have that convoluted winning percentage system for how they pick the teams playing in the championship. I think Virginia will beat them. But the fact that they're playing in it is ridiculous. I don't understand why Miami isn't playing in it. I don't understand why Miami isn't ranked higher than Notre Dame. I think it's all
people
it's
love
all
Notre
nice.
Dame. You
Yeah,
know
I
the
know
answer
people,
to that. You know
I
the
know
answer to
people
that question, Steve.
I know people love Notre Dame, but the Miami head-to-head victory should count, should matter more. And Miami has played a comparable schedule to Notre Dame, and they've had just as many good wins as Notre Dame has had. Notre Dame has had the same tough losses like at Texas A&M, but Notre Dame's going to get in. Most likely Miami, from what I saw, I hope they get in. I have not seen them in the projections. I've seen them as one
I
of the
think
teams
the
out.
only way Miami gets in is if Duke beats Virginia. If Virginia gets in, I think Virginia goes. If
Yeah,
Duke beats Virginia, I think Miami goes.
Yeah, it's got Virginia is an 11 seed. North Texas would be the 12th seed, and Miami would be out.
What do you think the Texas A&M North Texas score would be? 50-0?
Texas A&M North Texas. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What do you think the Oregon Virginia score would be? 45-7?
Oregon will destroy them. Yeah,
right.
I mean Oregon will run them off the field.
Right.
I totally agree. The teams that are going to end up with buys are Ohio State, and regardless of what happens with Ohio State and Indiana, I still think Indiana will get a bye. Georgia, I think, will end up winning the SEC championship. They'll get a bye, and probably Texas Tech. They're the other conference champion. I don't. You're not going to put the ACC over them. So yeah, that'll be it, and we'll go from there. But I don't think Coach Mora leaving was as monumental as everyone thinks it is. Everyone that has been on a text stream, everyone who's been talking about it, thinks the sky is falling because he's leaving. I don't think that, like, I think Joe D could have coached this team through this schedule and won 9 games.
Oh, he wouldn't have lost the Syracuse game, I can tell you that.
I don't think that he did anything remarkable these last 2 years with the schedule that we played.
Oh, I don't, Steve. I think you're being way over the top. I don't think you can. I don't think you can just wash your hands of what he's done all together. Look, he put the system in place. He had the right staff, not just coaching, but administrative people to work with. They did a great job for that, for being an independent in the portal. And yes, they played a schedule that I was with right atop the mountain screaming about how easy the schedule was, but you still got to win the games in front of you. Now, do I think it's the death blow of the football program? No, of course not. Obviously not. But I don't think it's fair to just say, well, anybody could have done it, because we saw after Randy 1.0 that not everybody could do it.
Well, after Randy 1.0, they were in the AAC, and Paul Pasqualoni was not a great hire. Bob Diaco was not a great hire. As soon as we became an independent and can control the schedule that we played, I think that played a huge part in everything. And I don't think, like, we beat one team with a winning record. Like, that says something. There wasn't anyone. He doesn't control who we play. He plays the teams that are on our schedule, and he beat the teams that were on our schedule. And like you said, we were 9-3. We very well could have been 5-7. There were games we could have lost just as much. So I don't give him as much credit for going 9-3. I think the schedule was
Really?
No, the schedule was paper thin, Dave. Troy could have coached against those teams.
I disagree.
We almost lost to FAU. If the kicker from FAU made the field goal, we lose to them. We lost to Rice in overtime.
Have you seen our record?
Yeah, I've seen our record.
In the past?
Yeah, but we weren't an independent. We were in the AAC. We couldn't compete in the AAC. So we went to an independent.
We couldn't compete in the AAC. Think about that.
Yeah, and we don't play AAC teams. We're playing Sun Belt teams. I mean, we're playing Conference USA teams.
So I'm trying to get to what you're saying. You're saying that anyone could have won 9 games?
Yes. I don't think it's remarkable that he won 9 games against the schedule.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't think we just lost
if he was
Woody
staying,
Hayes.
would you think it was remarkable?
No, because we have the same problems. The same problems would exist if he were here or if he were gone. There's no sense of urgency to get into a conference. There's no.
I totally did. How do you know? Let me ask you this: how do you know?
Because I talk
from
to people.
upstate New York. There's no sense of urgency to get in the conference.
Because I've talked to people in power who've told me that.
That they've said they're not in any
sense of urgency to get into a conference.
Meaning athletic director, who?
Status quo. They're happy with the way things are with basketball. Football is what it is. Football is going to come second to basketball, and they don't understand. They can go out and win 10 national championships. It doesn't matter. We won the women's national championship. The Big East Conference got $650,000 because we got one team in. So financially, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to be an independent.
I agree with that. But not. I mean, football wise, basketball wise, it seems to be sustainable at this point. The way
for now. But as we saw last year, what happened?
Yeah,
the SEC took over for most of the rankings for the men, and it's going to happen to the women too eventually, and especially when Gino leaves. How many more years does Gino have? People come to Uconn for Gino.
Right.
So that is why.
I want to know this. When did you become the Prince of Darkness?
Yeah.
It's called reality.
I don't. I woke him up too early today. It's
called reality.
It's called reality. I don't know if I agree with that. Listen, I think that SEC, Big Ten, and ACC basketball wise are obviously much better conferences to get into. That would be a
Dave, we make pennies on the dollar from the Big East.
My question is this: so why is there not what is behind the lack of urgency?
They're happy with status quo. They're happy with the way things are.
I don't want to call your sources liars, but I totally disagree with that.
I hope you're right. I hope tomorrow they come out and say we're joining the Big 12 or the ACC. I hope that happens. But the reality is it's probably not going to happen. And if it does, wouldn't be until 2030. And can we last till 2030 as an independent? Can we fundraise?
What would be your solution in the near run? What would be Steve Culley's solution?
I would go on I had the Air Force director on, athletic director on.
Okay.
And the first thing he did when he got to Holy Cross is he went on a major fundraising campaign to build the Hart Center at the Luth Athletic Complex.
Right.
He raised millions upon millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what needs to be done here.
Have you looked at campus lately? Have you seen the new buildings they have for other sports?
That's great.
They have
bullshit.
Every sport,
bullshit.
Everything
bullshit.
Football is great too. Actually, football's
It is great. It is great. It is great. It's wonderful.
Have you looked at the RZA Performance Center? Have you looked at the softball facility? What they did with volleyball
I've seen
Elliott Park?
building.
You don't care. All you care about is football. You think the fucking world revolves around football. Well,
it
guess
does,
what, Steve? It doesn't.
It does.
Not everybody's world revolves around football.
Well, what I think is
college
this.
Sports today, it does. Football is a billion-dollar industry.
College sports
drives all the revenue.
You're right.
Sorry.
You're right on that.
20,000 people aren't showing up for a volleyball game.
No, that's true. But here's my thing on my argument is not whether football drives it. My argument is there is a commitment to sports at Uconn. I mean, my family's comment when we drove through campus was it's a pro sports with a school, because basically what they saw was gigantic buildings for athletic facilities on a fairly small campus. If relative, having been to most big schools around the country just from running events and stuff, the size of the campus relative to other state universities, and I'm not talking about the extended portions of campus, but I'm talking about like central campus is incredibly small. Uconn is incredible. So if you drive through Uconn and you go through the athletic facilities and you go around to the dorm areas and to the rest of the campus, you would 100% come away from it thinking this is an athletic school. So I don't think that's it. The specific issue with football is the ability, where I do agree with you, is to attract the billionaires to the program. So the whole, all of college football to me is simply, I'm slightly exaggerating when I say it's all billionaires, but it's the billionaires deciding they're going to make these teams wildly successful.
Look what
that is what it comes down to. That is what it comes down to in college football.
You said the same thing about Michigan. The Oracle guy's wife wanted the guy at Michigan to donate billions of dollars.
She donated. They wanted the number one quarterback, which they got, to flip from LSU, and he went to Illinois. Larry, I can't think of his last name, but the guy who owns Oracle, and
Larry Fine.
Larry, is it
Larry Fine? No. Oh, that's the Three Stooges.
Larry Ellison, I think it is. I think it's Larry Ellison. But his second wife or whatever went to Michigan. She wanted to help Michigan. She asked him to donate $10 million so part of it could get that player, which they got, the quarterback, right? And that's just, that's one of 1,000 examples. There's 1,000 examples of
Texas
Tech.
Look at how much they invested.
Andrew Luck getting $50 million, right? From Stanford alumni. That you can go right down the list, right? So it's school after school, the SMU, Vanderbilt, Indiana. They all have wildly successful alumni at these state schools that a lot of time remain dormant and do not want to be in the spotlight. Okay, so and that's true for Uconn. They do not want to be in the spotlight. They may want to give if positioned in the right way, but the issue is that they're not. I don't think in football the time necessary put into it. They haven't figured out how to do that in football. Okay, so when they were relying on the Burton family for everything for a long time, that got them a long way for a long time, but not in today's era. not in today's era of. I wish I could post the comments in a position. I wish StreamYard had fixed that because it just covers us up. You know what I mean? Like, why can't they post it like on the?
Well, it covers us up. It leaves Pretty Boy at the top wide open.
Yeah, maybe I could post it on the side. See, when I post on the side, it's right so small, you know. But anyway, I mean, and now I posted it both. All right. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's the issue. That is a combination of someone who is business orientated, working in that system for football. Okay, or in the athletic director office, or I don't know, presidents, or whatever, business orientated at the same time that they understand football. And I think Mike has done a lot of great stuff, like carrying on his father's legacy, done a lot of great stuff from that standpoint. I don't think it's realistic to ask the person or group that's been giving the money to be the guy to go and do all the reach out. That is not most people who are very financially successful and are going to give. They want to, yes, they might be the linchpin of the people. Like, hey, you know, Mike, can you reach out to this guy? You know, I think we got him, or whoever it is, right? But they don't want to be doing the recruiting. They shouldn't be doing the recruiting. That has to be a person or persons or a team within just dedicated to football that is paid handsomely to do that. That's the only way it's going to happen. It's not going to be a volunteer. I hate to say this. It's not going to be a volunteer. It's not going to be a guy who's related to the program. Okay. It's going to be a person in-house that is tasked with that job.
Every school has
maybe a team of people. Okay. Yeah. That is hired to do that. That is the only way it's going to happen in football. Basketball, it's able to be done for the most part the way it currently is. Okay. Maybe you're right. In the future, maybe that is not the case. But right now it is. Like when you have a personality like Hurley, he shows up, people open their checkbooks. Okay. And you're going to need a coach to mirror that on the football side. But football is so transient. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe more transient than basketball. Okay. So transient with the coaching staff and the coaches to rely on your program being tied to a coach to make it happen is crazy. And Ole Miss is my example. I mean, this is the perfect example. Ole Miss, you would argue, did all this because Lane Kiffin came there, and he was there for 6 years, which they're furious now. People are furious, right? But he was there for actually 6 years, which is like a eternity in college football.
College coaching. Yep.
Literally an eternity in college football. So, and they're furious. And now they're like, how are we going to do? How are we going to keep the donors engaged? You know, those kind of things. They have to obviously make a big splash on their next hire.
Relations. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a bigger splash than Lane Kiffin. That ain't going to be easy.
They already named their next hire.
I thought he's interim. They named Golden is the permanent?
Permanent. The defensive coordinator is the permanent head coach because they want to try to keep the staff intact.
That's a mistake by Ole Miss.
And Charlie Weiss Jr. went with Lane.
Yes, he went with Lane. So Golden is a fantastic coach. That's a mistake, if that's what they did, to name him as the permanent head coach just to keep guys around.
Right away.
The bottom line is that they have to be able to make a splash, and they have to be able to have a team around him that's pitching the donors. Okay. Uconn has to be able to make a splash better than at minimum as good as Mora as their next hire. Okay. If they go backward and don't establish a team, we'll just be back to 2-9. There's no doubt.
That's why Chris D mentioned Mora coming back to campus today. He's coming back to talk to the team because there's so many kids that have entered the transfer portal, He's trying to get them to stay together for the bowl game.
Wait. What? What happened?
Mora is coming back to Uconn either today or tomorrow to talk to the team.
Why?
Because so many kids have entered the transfer portal.
No, that's not why he's coming back. He told Dama Moore from the Current he's coming back so he could tell them face to face about leaving and thank them for what they did.
Oh, okay. That's different. That's very different. Yeah, I don't.
And look, I was very critical of him for leaving without telling the kids, but he explained to Dom in the Current that he reached out to him on Teamworks because there was nobody on campus. Everybody had left for Thanksgiving. So I was wrong in being critical of that. I think it's good that he's coming back today, but we'll see if he lives up to one of his big statements, one of his "I'm a tough guy" statements from a couple of years ago, that he was going to call out coaches for talking to kids who weren't in the portal to try to get him in the portal. We'll see if that holds true.
Well,
that's my question. You know what?
He's already got him in the portal.
That would be my one thing about, like, do you think they're letting Lane Kiffin asked to talk to the team and have a second to talk with them? And in my opinion, if anyone deserved to be able to talk to his team and what he did, he actually deserved that opportunity to talk to his team. Okay. They might have been worried about one of the players killing him. I don't know. But they did not allow him. The AD was very upset of the whole situation. Did not allow him to do that. He understood. I understand both sides on this. To me, this is me. Okay, if he wanted to speak to the team, he should have had a meeting. Either what did he do with Teamworks? What did he do? Did he do like a?
Yeah, there was no way to do it because it was on.
What did he do? Did he do a Zoom or something?
No. Teamworks
is how they communicate.
He texted him out a message.
Yes.
So I think he should have at least hit something a little bit more than a text message.
There was nothing he could do. It was. You realize it wasn't announced until Tuesday at midnight.
Why would we allow him back on campus? I'm trying to think of the rationale on that.
Probably to steal our kids because we have so many that entered the transfer portal, and I hope that he does the right thing and encourages them.
I think he will, but I don't know. Like I just think that all that does to me. I'm just playing devil's advocate on this. I'm not sure that I have a stance either way, but
you're giving him another opportunity.
You're giving him an opportunity to present himself as a human being to them, and to them be able to then those players that are there think to themselves, I really like playing for this guy. Yeah. Maybe I'll go to Colorado State.
Of course.
You'll have half the guys that'll be like,
100%.
Get him the F out of here. That's the other part. Like,
I don't think so. The reaction hasn't been that toxic towards it.
Right.
Now, players aren't going to go online, though, Steve, and say, we think he sucks for leaving. Kids aren't going to do that.
They're not, but you can tell by people entering the portal. You can tell by what has been going on that there's not.
Well, what do you mean by what's going on? You make these vacuous statements. What do you mean by what's going on?
I don't know. I guess I don't know what I mean. I just mean that
you're saying that he's recruiting. Well, I mean,
he's going to be taking, I'm sure, several players.
I think he's definitely going to take a couple of players. There's no doubt. It's naive to think the Indiana guy took 13 players from JMU to Indiana. I don't know whether he met with his players when he left JMU or not. I have no idea. But it's naive to think that they're not taking players.
Right. Exactly.
That to me, listen, Lane Kiffin, the second he landed in LSU, he's calling half that Ole Miss roster that he thinks can help. Okay, there's that has eligibility with. I mean, or something. I know the rules are he can't call him. Whoever calls him, Johnny over on the corner.
It's a third party.
What Johnny on the corner calls him, right? So, but whoever calls him, it's naive to think for Uconn to think that he's not going to try to take players. That's naive. And now, if he doesn't take players, I would actually, from Mora's standpoint, he did make a big deal about that whole thing. But honestly, if Mora doesn't look and say, you know what, there's a couple of players that can help me at Colorado State. Colorado State stinks. He would be a shitty coach and a shitty hire if he, in the world we're in today, okay, if he didn't think about trying to get some of those players through a third party.
Absolutely.
So that's why I wouldn't allow him back on campus. Nothing to do with, I think he did a great job. I have no inkling at his personality at all. I have no idea about any of that. I have no idea how the players feel about him or don't feel about him. I'm sure they're very happy. Most of them are probably happy with their careers that did well. Yeah. But I do think that it's a mistake to let him back on campus once he left.
Yeah.
That is like saying this is a god. This is a god that we can't replace. He's the greatest thing ever. And that's why I think, as much as it's kind of probably was crappy for when Lane Kiffin left, and Lane Kiffin in the interview, he said, I completely understand. He said, I wanted to talk to the players. They didn't want me to talk to players. He said, I completely understand. This is the world we're in. This is how it is. And so even though you have relationships with guys, I look at it like this. The guys that you actually have relationships with, okay, the guys that you have relationship with as a coach, you still have that relationship with them even if you leave. They completely understand what's going on. Completely understand. Unless you lied to them and said, hey, I'm never leaving. I'm not leaving here. This is my destination forever. Short of doing that, I do not think that any player that is fond of you would look at you in this world, because they're doing the same thing. The players are doing the same thing.
It's a business. They're all doing the same thing.
They're all doing the same thing.
It's $1 billion industry right now.
Basically, they all look at it like as a coach, you look at it like, hey, you come play for me. I need you to be a good guy. I need you to do the things we ask you to do. I need to give give me effort. I need you to compete. I need you to go to class if that's what we're doing. And then, I need you to, do everything that we ask you to do while you are here. And if at some point in the future, you decide that Uconn is not for you, we're not playing you enough, whatever that rationale is, that's up to you. Just like any coach can leave at any time. So I think that's kind of like the unwritten contract that you have with these players.
Absolutely. It's a business. It's a business. It's a business deal. The players are getting paid. The coaches are getting paid. Nothing is guaranteed other than the players getting paid. And that's the problem. And my solution would be if we could do something like SMU did and give up television rights for a certain amount of years to get into the ACC and raise enough money, that would be worth it to me, because we're not going to survive as an independent for another 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that answer, but it's not.
I do know that answer.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
It's a good theory, but unless a conference says they want you, it's a moot point.
Exactly. And we're not desirable to a conference right now. We're completely undesirable. And Benedict thought that winning games would make us desirable. Desirable is revenue. It's all revenue driven. Who's going to pay to watch us? Are we going to put asses in the seats? That's what it comes down to. And that's what more staying here or more leaving, that hasn't changed. Because we went 9-3 this year, if we go to a bowl game and win a 10th game, are we going to open up next year with 35,000 people at our first home game? Probably not. Our broadcast television rights from CBS Sports, how much are we getting paid for that? We're probably paying them.
No.
The Big East rights, we're not paying.
We're not paying CBS Sports.
I'm kidding saying that. I'm just saying we're not getting
but you can't say that because people might take it as gospel. And we're not paying CBS Sports.
We're not paying CBS Sports, but we're not.
And nobody's turning up nobody's turning up September 5th, Labor Day weekend for the Lafayette game.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's my point.
Now, if you can't draw for Maryland and North Carolina, games 2 and 3 next year, then you've got a big problem.
Then you have a huge problem. Yeah.
There ain't nobody turning up for. I mean, the home schedule is,
it's
for the
very
most
tough.
part, Lafayette, Maryland, North Carolina, Syracuse, JMU. That's a pretty good. UMass is UMass. I mean, I understand they stink, but 4 of the 6 home games next year. It's to me
very good.
It's a much better home schedule than we had this year. Much better.
Much better. And it shows that at least we have a small sample size with the Duke game that fans will show up when there are competent Power 4 level opponents. And that is going to make the difference. If we can show we can draw, if we bring in a coach that rallies the troops, rallies the fans, brings some excitement to the program, I think that'll make the difference in getting into a conference.
Yeah, but Moore brought excitement to the program.
Not really. I mean,
come on, Steve. 2-9-3 seasons back to back. Well, when did they last do that at Uconn?
I think if he brought excitement to the program, we would have more of an average for a home game than 22,000 people. I think we would be building off of that. We would be growing the program.
Here's something everybody's got to consider. Maybe people in this neck of the woods just don't give a crap about college football. There is that.
Well, there was an article. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
They don't care about college.
There was there's a couple of videos that are put out about like the death of Northeast college football. And that is part of it because pro is so popular. Basketball is so popular in the Northeast. And even though football really basically got its original popularity before it spread to the Southeast, really in the Northeast with the Ivy Leagues and the academies. And then obviously a lot of the Midwest team, they started in the North and Northeast, but then, once it spread to the Southeast and Texas, and that became the linchpins of college football, it slowly has becoming less popular. So I would say that even the most popular program in the Northeast, in my opinion, which is Penn State, okay, which draws unbelievably well every game, is in the Big Ten. When newspapers were big, Penn State used to be in the newspaper all the time. You probably remember that, Joe, right? Even probably
absolutely.
It's not even in the paper almost at all. Okay, very rarely. And in New Jersey, where I'm from, Penn State, it's like New Jersey might as well have been like Penn State East as far as from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah.
So there's so many history of New Jersey players, like very few players in New Jersey, at least grow up in my era. I'm not sure how they feel about it now, but growing up when I grew up, like the first school that you thought you wanted to go to when you were a young kid playing youth football was Penn State. Like there was I didn't even know there was a Rutgers, to be honest. I really didn't. Because you think about when you're a kid, I watched TV. You know what I mean? I watched Penn State. I didn't even really know there was a Rutgers till I was almost in high school, and I was starting to think about what I wanted to be as a player. Very similarly, when I got my first, now we were FCS at the time, but when Tom Jackson came down, when I was I don't know if I was a junior or I think it was sophomore. No, junior. Must have been junior back then. When he came down, I didn't even know that UConn had a football program.
I didn't either.
I'm telling you the truth. I did by then know about Rutgers because I was in Syracuse and all, but I didn't even know UConn had a football program. So these are the things that and I remember my father saying, hey, like this is a place you might want to look at. There are some Jersey kids that went here. And if you don't end up going to one of these other schools, like this might be a school. And, I didn't even think twice when he said that to me at the time. And I was a junior already, So, and I ended up going there. I'm serious. I literally, I think we went on a tour of colleges as a junior in the spring, like to junior days and stuff. And a lot of Division Ones and all those different things that you're invited to. UConn didn't even have a junior day, but my father made me just because that's how he was. My father coached college track for a little while, and he was a big time coach in high school. He made me stop at UConn on the way back from, I don't know, it must have been Boston College or Syracuse. And on the way back, he made me stop there just to look at it, just so he was a big just in case these you need to look at these schools. So we looked at it, but it was really that's the issue in the Northeast. Okay. So if Penn State does not draw the same cachet in New Jersey, which is literally Penn State East, Northeast football has an issue overall with it. That's why BC has an issue. That's why Syracuse has an issue, because the players that are really good in the Northeast, they go to a different place. They don't go to BC as much anymore. They don't go to Syracuse. They don't go to which why UConn has recruited nationally, which has been a fairly smart strategy. Besides, you needed New Jersey in those places, but a fairly smart strategy grabbing some of these players from other places, because there's not as many big time players in the Northeast as there used to be, and there's not as much of a focus on it. Like sports like lacrosse, kids that were great football players, a lot of times play lacrosse too, right? So you're losing some of those kids. And so that's becoming, so you need at UConn to be able to have a concerted strategy to be able to. Penn State does have that, which is why with the Big Ten, 100,000 seat stadium, no matter what happens, they can keep their expectations really high. But that is why sometimes I feel, and I think James Franklin probably in the back of his head thinks about, I don't think Penn State's thought of who they are and realism as to what we can get match the same way. And one state over, that's not the case. Ohio State, one state, Ohio and Michigan, football is truly the Midwest.
Yeah,
football is still king. Penn State dances towards the Northeast, which is why it just doesn't get, to me, quite as many guys as Ohio State as Michigan gets. And in the old days, they did. The old days, they won national championships. And, so I think those are things that have to be overcome. And I think UConn has to develop a strategy for it. They have done it in basketball way back in the 80s. They did it in the 80s and 90s of basketball, and it worked. It took UConn into a whole nother stratosphere in basketball. That Lou Perkins obviously was a big part of that. Not just the coaches, Jim Calhoun, but Lou Perkins was a big part of that. And I think that, and Lou Perkins is the reason why we're actually in Division I. I mean, if you think about it, the legacy of Lou Perkins is still sitting here almost 25 years later, okay, because of all the things that he did. He was and I've said this to you before, so I'm not saying anything that I haven't said before. He was like when he walked around campus, he was bigger than, or I'll say as big as the big time coaches.
Coach Schumann, Chris D would like to know if we could talk about who we're going to hire.
Football?
Yeah.
Well, it's how much money do we have?
Right. And here's another thing.
2.5.
Before we go off on that, and I think we should talk about the names that were listed in the register today.
Okay.
As transfer portal guys. One of the attractions of Mora was that he had NFL experience. And if you're a kid who thought you could play in the NFL, you thought this was a guy who could best help you get to that goal. So that I think that's a piece of the puzzle. And the other piece is, do you want to recruit do you want an NFL assistant who doesn't know NIL, who doesn't know transfer portal, or do you want to take a college assistant who has knowledge of all this, or a retread college coach? I mean, there's 3 categories to pick from. I don't think Gordon Samus is getting the full-time job. I just don't. I think David Benedict thinks bigger than that.
I agree.
So I think that's I think there's a lot to parse through, and when you're looking for when you're thinking who would be the perfect fit for what's going on here. And the other thing is, and we haven't talked about this, how many of his assistants does Moore bring with him to Colorado State? How much of the staff does he bring to Colorado? You know, the administrative staff and stuff. I mean, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a total rebuild.
He brought the general manager so far.
What's that?
Yeah.
He brought his GM?
Yeah. Yeah. He brought the general manager so far. Yeah.
Well, and
the executive director or whatever.
I think that's the tip of the iceberg. So, you know, I mean, yeah. I think it's silly to speculate right now who you think they're going to bring in as a coach, because there's a million names are out there. Do you want to try to strike it big and go for a Chip Kelly? I mean, I've seen people say John Gruden, which I think is ludicrous. Okay, we see how Belichick did at North Carolina. What makes you think Gruden would do any better at an FBS independent? We've seen Joe Moorhead's name been taken. Great guy, but he hasn't exactly kicked ass at Akron, right?
Nope.
You know, people say Rob Ambrose, who I love, who's one of my favorite people in the world, but he's not at Towson. He hasn't coached for a couple of years. He's not at Towson anymore.
He's at Shepherd University right now
as an assistant, right?
We had this. Remember we plugged this in the ChatGPT the other day, Steve.
We did.
Oh, I remember when you did that. I saw that.
It was funny because what they said. So let's see. All right.
Yeah, I know Kevin.
Chris Nash. No way. He was at Rutgers. I saw what he did at Rutgers. No way. Akron head coach Joe Moorhead. There's no way that's happening. Lehigh head coach Cahill. No way that's happening. Heatherman, maybe. Matt Patricia, if you're hammered drunk. So I mean, I think that you would have. I think that we talked about Charlie Weiss Jr., but obviously LSU is going to pay him so much money that it won't even matter anyway. So that's not going to be an issue. Not going to be a person that we could get. But I would have thought we thought about Charlie Weiss Jr., right? Then we also thought about there was another guy. Oh, the Colorado head coach. I think had not head coach. I'm sorry, offensive coordinator.
The offensive coordinator.
Yeah, had some ties to here. That could have been a person. But it really comes down to like, if you wanted, like, who would you get if you were going to get like an ex-NFL guy? I mean, Rex Ryan.
I wouldn't take an ex-NFL guy.
Perfect. I totally agree, Steve. Totally agree.
Brian Daboll's been mentioned. Cully keeps poo-pooing Kevin Cahill. I love Kevin Cahill. I played with Kevin Cahill. He's from my town. He's 12-0 at Lehigh. Kevin Cahill would be great.
I just don't think they're taking someone from
it's the Patriot League to come to Uconn. They're not going to take him. Why would they? That's not a splash hire. That's not someone that's going to get anyone in Connecticut to the program.
You mentioned Skip Holtz, which I think
I would bring him back.
He would be great.
I'd let him do it.
They're not going to do it, but I think he would be great. I thought about when people mentioned the Yale head coach, and I kind of laughed at it at
Tony
first.
Reno, yeah,
he's done a great job He's actually done a great job.
If you're going to take Tony Reno, then you take Kevin Cahill. Kevin Cahill has done it with scholarships. The Yale coach has not done it with scholarships.
Well,
and Kevin Cahill's younger. No, that's what I'm saying. Kevin Cahill has experience with scholarship recruiting.
Mike Shanahan, you're not getting him. MSU fired Jonathan Smith. You're not getting him. That's the old Oregon State coach, I think.
Yeah.
Philip Montgomery, Virginia Tech. You're not getting him. He's not gonna get hired.
Look, we can
no, but I think it's going to have to happen.
Who could get hired? Who could get hired by Uconn? Like, who would they hire?
It's going to happen fast. They have to get someone in place. The early signing date is December 2nd. They've already lost the number.
You know who they should hire? They won't. This is who they should hire. And he 100% would be 10-0 next year, 10-1 next year, 9-2 next year. I don't know if they could afford him, but he's a Northeast guy and he's a phenomenal coach. Anthony Campanelli. He's the DC for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't know.
He's unbelievably fiery. His brother is the tight ends coach at Syracuse. His brother was the old Bergen Catholic head coach. His older brother is the same age as me. We grew up together. He's currently the Bergen Catholic head coach. His older brother.
Well, people have mentioned the Delaware coach too.
The Delaware coach would be great as well. 100%. He's also a Jersey guy, and he also comes from and he coached at New Hampshire, and he comes from a. So to me, though, if you were to say like realistic candidates that would win immediately, the Delaware head coach, to me, I would pay him whatever you had to pay him. If you could get him, I would pay. I wouldn't hire. He's not. But Stoops is not coming to UConn. There's no way. Stoops will go be an assistant for $3 million.
Or just he's got a $37 million buyout.
Yeah, or go take a break for a year or two.
He can go sit on a beach for 2 years.
Let me ask you this before you go
Anthony Campanelli would be a home run. Absolute home run.
Let me ask you this. And I'm looking at his resume, and from that standpoint, yes. But you're talking about making a big splash. Does anybody here know who Anthony Campanelli is? No.
Every single person in the Northeast knows their family. No doubt. Every football coach in the Northeast.
But the fans have no clue who this guy is, Shu.
The fans won't matter because he would immediately make an impact. He is an NFL coach. He would he would have every recruit that at least is in the Northeast interested in going there. He would be 10x the recruiter of any of these other guys who've done well in New Jersey. He would at least minimum equal recruit James Franklin for Northeast players if James Franklin comes up this way. And there's no doubt. He's going to be an NFL head coach in a few years. So
I just looked at his resume. I can't hire a guy who named one of his kids Serafina. I'm sorry, I just can't do that.
Might be a hit out for you shortly soon. So.
No, you know what? I'll tell you what, Shu. Looking at his resume, he would be. It's looking at his resume because he's got He's got a lot of college experience.
Yep.
So he understands the
Michigan,
college system.
Rutgers.
He's young.
Yep. He's probably. I would say he's probably about. He might be Steve's age. I don't know. I think he's their youngest brother. Brian Kelly. No, that's not happening. Anthony Poindexter is a very good coach.
Yep.
I like him. I would like Anthony Poindexter.
Yeah, I would too.
He would do great, I think. That would be someone I would be okay with. Rutgers OC, no, that's not going to happen. PSU OC, I don't. Those guys, I don't. Des Kitchings from UVA probably would be good because he's known recruiting wise. I don't know if UConn would take him. But
Mark D'Amelio was pushing for Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, that's I love Lyndon. He's great, but he's not going to get the job. So
no,
he's not going to get the job.
I don't think anybody who's got ties with Uconn in the past is going to get the job. It's just my thought.
Interesting. Why is that?
I'll tell you when we go off air.
Okay.
No,
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it when we go off air. All right, let me get to this because I wanted to talk about this, but you two hammerheads won't let me. So the Register today listed a bunch of kids who have already reportedly gone in the portal, including Omar Diamande.
Yep.
Ben Morosky.
The tackle.
Two of Cully's boys, which is why he's a little bit sad today. John Nider and Victor Rosa. Cam Chadwick. Our MJ Flowers, and a couple of guys who were like break glass in case of emergency. So that's 6 pretty good guys.
Yeah.
And look, I understand Rosa and Nider are limited, but they're good team to me. They're good team guys. What are you laughing at?
I was laughing at what Chris posted.
Oh, Chris! No, he's no.
Loves Victor Rosa.
Look. I mean, he was great his freshman year, and then as they got a little bit better talent, he didn't play as much. But I think that, and I wonder how many of those 6 are planning to go to Colorado State. I could see a couple of them.
Absolutely.
I could see a couple of the defensive guys go.
Omar, yep. Cam Chadwick led the team in interceptions. Yep.
Yeah, I could see. And I think there's more coming. And the other thing, do they play in the bowl game? Now, last year, guys went in the portal, like Skyler, and he played in the bowl game. I don't know if that's going to be the case this year with an interim head coach.
Yeah, I don't think he would play in the bowl game, especially with him being invited to the Senior Bowl and possibly.
Well, I mean all the transfer guys, Stevie. I don't just mean Bell.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think they would. I don't think there's too many of them. There's too many of them, and there's too much of a risk to do so. They want to give themselves the best possibility, but like I said, what's the difference of entering now as opposed to when the portal opens a month from now? That was my argument. It opens January 2nd. You're entering it now.
That's a month.
think that. Yeah, but you could, if you go to a bowl game and you get some film against better competition, it could help yourself.
I think it's going to be better competition.
It depends on the situation. If you're a guy that's down the roster, and now some guys leave and you get elevated, I would agree with you that it's definitely worthwhile playing, because those guys might jump in a portal right after they get some film. But it's for guys who, like Cam Chadwick, for example. Let's use him as a good example. Cam Chadwick, he wants to explore his options.
Great.
So he's got enough film.
Please.
So so you're not going to keep him from going into portal. But I think it's a case-by-case basis. Listen, college football's model.
This is what it is.
This is what it is.
This is what happens.
And by the way, because of that, as much as diehards like us might dislike some of those things, we've talked about this, Steve, the average person who bets or watches college football, drama is entertainment. It's no different than the Kardashians. This makes college football, not just great to watch as far as the games. Like, I enjoyed the rivalries. You know what I mean? Like, do I know every player on Auburn or Alabama? Absolutely not. I know that it's a great game every single year. That's what I know. That's what the average fan knows. And I think the drama around Lane Kiffin drama, Jim Mora drama being on,
it was everywhere. Yeah.
It's actually good for UConn that Nick Saban talked about it like that. because he's saying UConn's a better job than Colorado State.
It was a lateral move.
Actually, not according to Nick Saban. Nick Saban thought it was a move downward.
Yeah, I mean it's unknown. It's you're going into the group of 6. You're going into a Pac-12, which is full of Mountain West teams. We don't know that he can win there. And if he wants to take Omar Diamande and Victor Rosa and Ben Morawski, the tackle, please go. We've gotten 60 transfers every year. That's how we live and die by.
Yeah.
But
the average fan, I think the average fan who watches football casually, that shows up at the stadium and cheers, that chooses their college based off of the excitement of college football at all. Like, the first thing I thought did you see the video, Steve, with all the college students booing Lane Kiffin and cursing at him when he was getting on the plane?
Of course.
That, believe it or not, that makes college football more popular. It is the Kardashian thing. It's football used to be a thing people would watch on Saturday,
Yeah, now it's reality television.
Every day is reality television. It used to be,
you're right. People love it. The soap opera aspect of what football has become is one of the reasons college football has become so popular.
Yes, and Jim Mora is 64, and he wanted to go skiing every day while he still could.
Understand? By the way, on Jim Mora's side, as far as if you're 64 years old and you're like, I thought maybe he'd be looking for the biggest payday he could get, but and maybe this is I didn't even look at the contract, so I'm not sure. But if I'm Jim Mora and I'm already did this or that, and I did what I did at Uconn, and I get an offer to go back to my home area, and I could, if that's what he wants to do, ski all the time. It's 100. This whole thing, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, is what do you think is best for the individual involved?
That's all it is. It's
all it is. It's not like there are players that are team oriented. This group of seniors did a fantastic job of staying together, even though a lot of it was transient, but they stuck together for a couple of years, which made it an amazing ride. That, I think, that's what you could probably hope for. You get a group of guys, they stick it together for 2 years, give you everything you have. You have maybe a championship team, and then you've got to reload with another group of guys again. And it's kind of what it is.
That's what we've done every year.
Which is my point on that. You need, in football, and I don't quite know enough. I think basketball, because there's less people, the coach is the king. I know there's a GM, but he's the GM. I mean, basketball is different. Like the coach, he might have a GM, but he's the GM. He's the kingmaker. He's everything. So you don't need. There's less people involved, even though there's tons of money, and it was less people involved. Football, the football program, every football program has to begin to establish who are the people that want to be able to help our program for the long term. And those people are involved in the program in the background as either employees or however they do it to be able to make the program continue to thrive. Okay. Ohio State has that 11 group or whatever they call it that is responsible of making sure that team thrives. And, sometimes it's an outside group. Maybe you hire inside. It depends on what your culture of your organization is. But that's what has to happen at Uconn, which is the one thing we don't have yet, right? Like, if D'Amelio's putting up, I don't know if that's true or not, but if D'Amelio's saying, hire Lyndon Johnson, I mean, come on. That's Lyndon Johnson's a fantastic coach, but that's not going to be the coach that's going to get them all the players they need and be able to get them the wins. I mean,
he's been out of football for years,
and he hasn't been a head coach.
He's never been a head coach. Yeah,
So
how much do you think that plays in? And again, we don't know. I'm just asking for guesses here. But how much do you think head coaching experience is going to play in to the new hire?
It's probably going to play a decent amount because of the transfer portal. You have to be able. Uconn, we have lived and died with the transfer portal. We've only brought in 12 to 15 freshmen a year. We live and die with the transfer portal.
I think it's going to be weighed on the versus
and the salary
cachet versus the cachet of the coordinator that they could bring in. So,
yeah,
I do think Samus has possibly an opportunity to win the job over these next 30 days because they've been successful, and he's
a Broyles Award finalist too.
He runs the most successful part of that team, which is the offense. The hard thing is Samus a leader that probably would initially be the play caller? Well, no, I'm saying he'd be the play caller. So would he be a guy that can manage being the head coach,
to be the
play
CEO
caller, and still, be CEO and tactician, which he probably would have to be for a couple of years
and fundraise
until he fundraise, because that's a lot for a guy. So he may be that guy. I don't know enough about Samus to know, but I don't know that Samus could pass off his offense to another guy right away. He would have to go in, be the head coach, win with his offense, tutelage somebody underneath him to take his role, or eventually hire a guy if he gets enough status as the head coach to take his role, because his strength is his play calling. I mean, there's no doubt. Like, if I were to hire him as a head coach, I would want him to call plays and say, hey, at least for the first couple of years, you got to call plays and manage all this. Can you do it? You know what I mean? Because I'm hiring you because you're a great play caller. You know what I mean? So,
and several head coaches do that.
I mean, Sarkisian still call play. He is an offensive coordinator, but he still calls plays. Lane Kiffin still calls the majority of the plays, even though Charlie Weiss probably is taking over the non-essential play calling, meaning first down, what do you want to run?
Short yardage, play action.
Like he may go to Lane Kiffin and situationally, Kiffin may say, hey, this is what I want to run here. This is what I want to run here. But but he probably brought Charlie Weiss Jr. because he's probably thinking, now I've had him for a couple years, I can pass him off. Now I can pass it off to Charlie Weiss Jr. He understands my system. Now I could do take my head coaching thing to the next level, right? Lane Kiffin might be looking at, hey, I was a head coach. Everyone brought me there as a play caller and head coach. Maybe they're always going to think about me that way. So if I passed it off to Charlie Weiss Jr. completely, and we lost some games, would people be upset with me? Would I have to come back to play call? At LSU, we could start fresh. Okay, now Charlie Weiss is the play caller. I'm going to do all the other stuff that I need to do now completely as the head coach, and maybe be more successful because of that. I mean, I don't know.
He won't have to at LSU because of the resources they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent $18 million just on the team this year. So
what happens to guys like Joe Brady? Where is he?
Joe Brady's the offensive coordinator for the Bills.
He works for Josh Allen. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah,
he's very good.
He gets paid too much.
All right, this is getting a little long in the tooth. I have a question for you before we wrap it up, and I'm sure we're going to do a show next Monday after we find out what bowl we're going to. Is there a new head coach in place by the time we talk next Monday?
I hope so.
Shoe?
I think the sooner the better.
By Monday. When is Mora coming and speaking?
Today.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would say 70% chance.
Okay. And I've been thinking a lot while you guys are making awesome points about the whole Mora coming in today. You could have had him do it on a Zoom call.
Well,
bring everybody to the meeting room. Let him talk to him for a Zoom call. I wouldn't let him set 1 foot back on campus.
No, because he's going to be trying to recruit.
He's going to be the chicken raiding the hen house.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so nice. He came back. I want to play for him.
Yeah.
Mom and dad. You don't think mom and dad on the fence staying there?
Yeah.
What I guess, Jim, he brought you in here. He brought you in, he came back to talk to you guys. That's how much he loves you guys. Yeah. That's how much he loves you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Randy was saying it on the airplane. Yeah.
I think that's naive of Uconn if to do it. Like
that's Benedict. What are you gonna do?
No, I don't know. I don't
think David's naive. I just think he didn't look.
He's trying to be different. He's trying to be a guy that's doing things the right way. To me, I like what Ole Miss did.
Well, this is
Slade, you were awesome. Get on your damn plane. We'll see you later.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
I
agree.
Thank you.
Kelly, wrap it up.
But all right, wrap it up.
We'll see what happens next week, where we're going in a bowl, and if we have a head coach. For the legendary voice of the Huskies, the best of the best, Joe D, and Coach Schumann, who is just making money. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.